I'll be showing two methods to add a new row to a table in Power Query. This might be relevant if you have some data where you need to test, and what you need to test isn't found in your dataset. So in my case, I want to say if there's no value in the phone number column, I want to take the value from the mobile phone column and add that to the phone number. And in my dataset, I don't have any examples of this, so I'd need to add that. So in my case, I'm going to copy paste the function that I did earlier. Here I'm saying that I want to do a table replace value. So I'm looking in a table, which is the prior step, change type. I'm saying go through each value in the phone number column one row at a time. And then if the value of the current row in the phone number column is null, so if there's no value here, then I want to replace the phone number column with the value in the mobile phone column. And if this condition isn't met, so if the value isn't null, then I just want the value in phone number. I don't have any situation where this condition is met. I'm going to have to add that, and I can do that with two easy methods. So I'm going to add a new table where I have the same column headers, and then I'm going to do a merge. And there are many ways to do what I'm doing now, where I'm creating a table and loading in Power Query, which you can see in the last video. So here I'm going to add some gibberish so I know it's fake, because that will help a little when I have to actually remember to delete this step. And then from here I can do a merge with the two tables. No, not merge, I want to append, because I want to add a table to the end. So here it's important that they have the same column headers, which they do because I copy pasted it. And this will add it to the end, and it might be possible to change this around, because I want to make sure that I delete this step. Yes, so if you just change the order of the table combine function, then you can have the appended table at the top. So I'm going to change the name so I'm sure I can remember to delete it. But right now my appending happens after I do my actual check. So I need to change the order. And now I have a phone number with null and actually have a value in the mobile phone. And then when I run my function, it will do what I needed to do, which was to take the value in the mobile phone, put that in the phone number, but only if I don't have a value. So if I had a row that had both a phone number and a mobile phone, then it would just keep the value, the original value. So we can actually check this. If I just go in here and say I want to replace the value in phone number with something like 123, 123. So null and replace with 123. And when I then go back to my original query, I can see here, because there is a value in phone number and one in mobile phone, nothing will happen because this isn't equal to null. So that was method 1, which is a little easier to do because you just have to press the buttons and not really write anything. But it does mean that you have to actually make a table, so it's a little more work, but it's easy work. So you can decide which method you like. The other method is to add a row inside my table using the Table.InsertRows function. And I'm just going to copy my original query here. And then in this step, I want to change this into the Table.InsertRows function. And this function is not one you're going to use often. So since I don't have intelligence, I don't have the helper here. What I can do is, since I know what the function is called, I can do this. I can do this, and I get my help here. So here I get the information. If you go to the helper page on Microsoft, I can see here what arguments my function takes. So it takes a table as the argument, first argument, which is change type. And my second argument is the offset, which is just what position do you want it to be inserted into. So if I say 0, it will become the new first row, and all other rows will be shifted down. And I want this because that makes it easier for me to delete it, because if I load the table inside my Excel sheet, then I can see that something is wrong. And then lastly, it takes a rows as lists. So this is actually a record, so curly brackets. And then each row that you want to add has to be in the square bracket. So if you want to add multiple, you need the comma and then square brackets again. So I just need one row so I can check my condition. So here I need the name of all of my column headers, which I have opened on my helper page. Or otherwise you could go to an earlier step to take a picture of it. And now, just as before, I get a new row, but I don't have to go and make a whole new table and load that in Power Query and have to do the appending. And I get the exact same end result which is just a new row. So again, you can decide which method you like the most. I would probably do Table.InsertRows because I will forget to delete tables, and I think it's annoying that I now have to go and delete this query and then I have to go and delete the table. So I'd rather not do all that. So just as before, I've called the step delete this, and I have null in phone number, and I can now check that my function actually works.